Is it really possible for you as a woman in your 50s to be able to lose belly fat, tone up and feel 10 years younger? Or is that just for celebrities and fake people? Well, if you stick with me, I'm going to share with you what I've shared with my clients that have helped them lose anywhere from 20 pounds, 30 pounds to over 80 pounds. I'm going to share with you 3 specific steps that you can take to quite literally transform where you are right now to where you want to be within a relatively short space of time. Let's dive in. To make sure you get the most out of this video, make sure you have a pen and paper handy to make some notes so you can start to implement this stuff quite literally starting from today. I'm going to break it down into diet, exercise, and number 3 is going to be my magic bullet. So definitely stick around for number 3. So let's dive into, first of all, talking about diet. So when it comes to diet, the big mistake I see most women over 50 making is they want to start off on 1200 calories. Why? Because their friends have done it, they've read about it, maybe they've done some research, and that's what everybody talks about, 1200 calories. Well, here's the problem with that. If you start at 1200 calories and you plateau, and if you've got to lose maybe 20, 30, 50 pounds, the chances are at some point you're going to hit a little bit of a plateau. And if you start on 1200 calories, where do you go if you're at a plateau? 1100, 1000, below 1000 calories. So it doesn't make it a particularly good starting point. So what I recommend my clients do is start off by first of all figuring out what their ideal weight is going to be. So let's say you want to be 10 stone for argument's sake. Turn that 10 stone into pounds. So 140 pounds in 10 stone, 14 pounds in a stone, 10 times 14, 140 pounds. Take that figure, multiply it by 12, and that will give you 1,680 calories. That becomes your starting point. Now, I can hear you saying, hang on, Eric, that's way too many calories. I'll never ever lose weight on that. But look, here's the reality. If you're already carrying weight and you're struggling to lose weight, the chances are you're probably eating more than that anyway. So start on 1,680 if that's applicable, or 12 times your ideal body weight in pounds. Start there, do it for 7 days, just 7 days. Check the scales. If the weight's coming off, guess what? Stick with it, because you can probably stick with that for a good, maybe 5, 6 or more weeks potentially, and you'll continually see the weight coming down. If the weight sort of plateaus a little bit after a few weeks of being on that starting calorie intake, then drop it by maybe 50 or 100 calories or so. But start off on something realistic that's going to give you some margin to sort of play with. 1200 calories, not a good starting place. Okay, so that's your calorie starting point. Let's talk about protein intake. Protein intake, really easy. Again, take your goal body weight. Again, we'll use 10 stone. So again, it's 140 pounds. You want to be consuming 1 gram of protein per pound of your target body weight. So if it's 140 pounds, 140 grams of protein per day. And that can be spread out over all of your meals. If you're having 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch and dinner, 2 meals a day, first meal, second meal, divide it up. That's your protein intake. Protein sources, my personal preference is meat and fish. If you're a vegetarian, go to vegetarian sources. That's your protein sorted out. And also I'll just add in here that protein is a good appetite suppressant, which feeds into my next point when we're talking about dieting. Now, there's a big thing out there about intermittent fasting. Look, here's the thing with intermittent fasting. I'm not going to get into all the science and all the autophagy and the benefits from intermittent fasting. I'm not going to get into that. But what I would say is this. Intermittent fasting, ketogenic diet, South Beach diet, all these diets have one thing in common: calorie restriction. And if you're used to eating 3 meals a day and you drop that down to 2 meals a day, as long as you don't increase the size of those meals, then guess what? You are in calorie deficit. You will lose weight. So in terms of eating windows, I would suggest to you, if you get your protein right, once you've had your final meal of the day, and let's just say hypothetically, that final meal of the day is 6 p.m. It could be later, but let's just say 6 p.m. Don't eat another meal again until you wake up the next day. That is your fasting window. It's that simple. It really is that simple. The mistake that people make is with their diet, they're low on protein. They try these intermittent fasting things. They feel like they're really hungry because protein, as I said earlier, is a natural appetite suppressant. They're low in protein, they feel really, really hungry, and they can't stick with intermittent fasting because they're starving all the time or the calorie intake is too low. So follow the 3 steps I've just laid out for you, and that will be a great starting point for your diet. Number 2 is exercise. Now, the first thing I want to say about exercise is this. Exercise is not for weight loss. You simply can't do enough exercise in order to lose the weight. Look, I went away on a holiday last year. I did a cruise on the Iona, went to the fjords up in Norway. And prior to going, I shifted a few pounds because I was putting a few pounds on. The old waistline was expanding a bit. So I made an effort to shift a few pounds. A, because I put a bit of weight on, and B, I knew that when I went on a cruise, in fact, when I go on holiday, I like to indulge in the food when I go away. So I knew going on a cruise, I was going to have breakfast, I was going to have lunch, I was going to have evening meals. I was probably even going to drink some alcohol, which is not normal for me because I'm not really an alcoholic drinker. However, when I go on holiday, I do like to sample the local cuisine. So, went on this cruise, it was 7 days long, and I made a point of using the gymnasium every single day. Sometimes I was in there twice a day, plus we were going on walks as well. So, and I exercise at a pretty decent level. I came back 7 days later, and guess what? I'd gained almost 2 pounds, and that's me exercising regularly every single day. So believe you me, you cannot out-exercise a poor diet. So again, refer back to the 3 steps I've just given you a second ago. But let's get into exercise and what you should be looking to do. First thing is, and this is something I wouldn't have said probably 10 years ago maybe, but where I'd like you to start or think about starting is walking. I'm not talking about 10,000 steps a day. I'm talking about walking for maybe 10, 15 minutes a day, maybe a bit longer on a weekend possibly. Why is that a good starting point? It's a good starting point because you can do it literally outside your front door, assuming you can walk somewhere safely. You can do it at work. You can park the car a bit further away. Get yourself a little pedometer if you want, so you can track yourself if you want to do that. But walking is a great place to start. When you're walking, you can do walking meditation. You can walk and listen to a podcast, or you can walk and just get some vitamin D if you walk at the right time of the day. So walking is a great starting point for your exercise. Just make sure you're walking in a well-lit area, you're away from traffic, and you've got suitable footwear so you don't sort of damage your feet, your knees, your back and all that sort of stuff. But walking is your starting point. In terms of weight training, now you may have heard people say women should do weight training. Well, why is it so important? Well, once we get past the age of 30, men and women start to lose lean body tissue. Lean body tissue is connected to our metabolism. If your metabolism drops, which it does as you age, then your ability to burn the calories you were burning in your 20s and 30s diminishes, hence middle-age spread. You hear people saying, I haven't really changed my diet that much, but I seem to be expanding around the old waistline. That's because, in part, your muscles have dropped, your muscle lean body tissue has dropped, and your metabolism has dropped as well. So, weight training is beneficial for helping to maintain or increase your metabolism. That's one benefit, and a huge benefit as well. It's also good for just building up general strength, and it's good for things like joint protection and staving off or minimizing the risk of osteoporosis. So lots of reasons to do weight training, and I recommend to my clients to try and fit in at least 3 sessions a week. Start off really light so you get some good form. Once you've got some good form working your major muscle groups, your legs, your back, your chest, your shoulders, once you've got into sort of good habits and good exercise form, either through working with a trainer or somebody like me, then you can start to increase the weight, but do it in a progressive way. So that's your exercise taken care of. Before I share the 3rd step with you, the magic bullet, I just want to make you aware of a free online assessment that you can do in the next few minutes. It's called the Boost Weight Loss Assessment. There's a link below this video. Go to a page, put your name, your email in, answer a few simple questions, and you'll get back a full-blown report that will help you to kickstart your mindset, your diet, and your exercise. It takes less than 3 minutes to do, so find the link around this video and dive into that. The third step is the magic bullet, and it's based on consistency. So look, once you've got a plan, your diet, your exercise all mapped out, personalized to you, it just boils down to consistency. We're not talking about trying to lose 5 pounds a week or anything ridiculous like that. I had a client, Sue, she lost 71 pounds, and when we tracked it back, it took her something like, I think it was about 9 months to lose the 71 pounds. And I think when we tracked it back, she was losing on average about 1.66 pounds per week, something like that. So she went on and lost a huge amount of weight, which was brilliant, improved the level of fitness, did a race for life, got into some fantastic clothes, expanded her wardrobe, and even got fit enough to be able to take on a Kilimanjaro challenge. So look, it's no good having a great first week or a great month. If you've got to lose 20, 30, 50 pounds or more, it's going to be down to consistency. Now, am I saying you have to be perfect 100% of the time? Of course I'm not. You know, the clients I work with, they're never perfect 100% of the time. When I need to lose weight, I am never perfect 100% of the time. But what I am is consistently trying to stick to the plan I've set myself. And if I have a day where I've gone off track a little bit, I try my damnedest to make sure the next 2 or 3 days are back on track, really back on track. So consistency is going to be the key to success. That is the magic bullet. If you get that cracked, you are off to the races and your success is pretty much guaranteed as long as you've got a good plan to follow. Now, if you want a good plan to follow, click on the video on screen right now where I go into more detail about a specific way to lose weight, covering all the steps I've just covered in a little bit more detail.